Impeachment motion, a delegation of India Bloc MPs submitted an impeachment notice against Madras High Court Judge Justice GR Swaminathan with 120 signatures after a tense face-off with the judiciary over the Tirupuran Kundam Karthigai Deepam row. According to the impeachment notice dated December 9, the motion was moved under Articles 217, read with 124 of the Constitution for the removal of the Madras High Court judge. The move comes amidst the simmering dispute over the lighting of the traditional Karthigai Deepam lamp atop this hill, Thiruparankundram, a site with a temple and a nearby dargah, following the judge's order permitting the ritual. The state government has declined to implement the ruling, citing law and order concerns, but that also triggered protests by pro-Hindu groups, clashes with police took place and now has escalated into a major political and judicial conflict. DMK Parliamentary Party leader Kanimoni, the party's Lok Sabha leader TR Balu, Samajwadi Party leader Akhilesh Yadav, Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and others handed this impeachment notice to the Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. The opposition bloc has managed to get the requisite number of signatures needed to move such a motion, and motion is expected to be moved in both houses by the opposition parties. The notice alleges that the judge's conduct raises questions on judicial impartiality and transparency, accusing him of showing undue favour to a senior advocate and lawyers from a particular community, and claimed that verdicts were influenced by political ideology going against the secular constitutional principles. Now, Justice Swaminathan has always been in the crossfire of DMK and allied forces, accusing him of carrying an RSS ideology. He has also recently authored another couple of judgments that went against state government actions. In a recent case, a litigant was allowed to hold anadhanam, which is distribution of food, in an open public ground. It was held that if a particular section is excluded from using a public ground on the sole issue of religion, it would offend Article 15. Justice Swaminathan held that the right to hold anadhanam can even be brought within the scope of one's fundamental right under Article 25. This is a case where the Christian community on ground opposed the program because the ground was used for Christian functions on other days. Also recently, the judge had come down heavily on the local authority in Sivakasi, allowing the installation of a freedom fighter statue at a local community hall after ordering its release from Tehsildar's custody. Swaminathan pointed out that while a statue may have symbolic value for which it was being opposed, it is also property in the legal meaning of the term. So are these some of the cases because of which the DMK and the Tamil Nadu government is so irked with this judge? And does this row now say that bringing an impeachment against a judge just because you didn't like his order, is this a way to browbeat judiciary in a democracy? That's coming up.
Why he violated that? How can he do that? When a higher bench had ordered one thing, that is the final order. How can a single judge change that?
He is not supported, it is not correct. And even the MPs, because they are the member of parliament, they should understand the problem. And it is the biased attitude and activity of the DMK government. They are doing it. It is very unfortunate, I have to say.
It is the incompetence of M.K. Stalin and his government which is trying to incite a religious divide in the state of Tamil Nadu.
Let's go across to Kalyan Raman. He's BJP leader in Tamil Nadu. Suman C. Raman continues to be with us and will also be joined by our DMK representative and others in just a bit. Let me begin with Kalyan Raman. The BJP, of course, has not led any, has not really pulled its punches as far as the actions of the DMK government is concerned. But the DMK government has now, in a way, taken, has put its money where its mouth is. They are objecting to the judge's orders, but they're even willing to move an impeachment motion, alleging that the judge is giving biased, ideological decisions. Your comment on that?
The most laughable effort by the DMK and their allies, the India bloc. There is a nice saying that says that those who fail to learn lessons from history are condemned to relive it. By indulging in minority appeasement since ages, both the Congress as well as the Dravidian parties have lost ground considerably in the last several years, particularly in the last 11 years of BJP's rule. And they continue to indulge in the same appeasement, minority appeasement or pseudo-secularism, so as to lose further. Precisely that is what is happening. Now, coming to the question of Justice GR Swaminathan. He had given a judgment, which was in turn upheld by the bench. Then the next immediate option available to the India bloc or DMK government is to go to the Supreme Court and challenge it. Have they exhausted that option before going to the Parliament and trying to have an impeachment when they don't have a number in place? It is just to set a narrative or just to create an image or a perception management that they are trying to do in order to appease the minorities of the state of Tamil Nadu, which are in good number, almost close to 20%, both Christians and the Muslims put together, including crypto-Christians. This is not going to help them in any given manner, and precisely they are doing only for the sake of votes, nothing but votes.
Okay. No,
Now,
so I want to raise this issue of them not. Once again, the issue of the legal options not having been exhausted. Let me take that to Salim Dharanidharan of the DMK joining us. In fact, the DMK government faced criticism earlier as well. Even in court, it was mentioned that, because they didn't want to implement this order on ground, they, rushed to the Supreme Court and kind of presented it as if the matter has been listed now, so it becomes sub judice. But the matter hasn't been listed in the Supreme Court even till now. We don't know when it's going to come up for hearing. And now you have a case when you haven't exhausted your legal options against the single judge bench order. And you've now moved impeachment against them. This is just unheard of. This is unprecedented just because you don't like the order that the judge is giving.
Which is not the case. When the behavior of a justice is also unprecedented, then you also have unprecedented actions. In fact, the first impeachment motion in independent India was started by the BJP party in 1991. Okay, for different reason altogether, Justice Ramaswamy impeachment, and then I think 3 or 4 impeachment motions initiated by the BJP itself. It is the provision in the constitution to give recourse, right? I don't think why following something in the constitution is wrong. This judge, time and again, has behaved in a manner which suspects us to have that he has ideological inclination.
Like
for
what?
example, to share a stage. Let me complete. For example, to share a stage with BJP politician H. Raja and mock that ruling party, that is the DMK rule, the Dravidian model rule, and talk about the ill about the past Chief Minister Kalaignar Karunanidhi. See, he's opened his own opinions, but to share a stage in the court, he has gone and mocked the fitness of non-Brahmin to join as priests. These are not expected from a justice. I have nothing against him. I have nothing against any community. I have nothing against any religion or caste. I am agnostic to all this. But the fact is, can someone of our for example, my chief minister, any chief minister, prefer one religion over the other, prefer one caste over the other?
But then why are you not implementing this order? You have picked a side in this matter.
No, see, I will tell you, this order is itself we are not accepting simply because 200 years, even before the advent of Justice Party, the Deepam was lit only in the
Who are you not to accept it? Who are you not to accept it?
You keep, sir, Kalyan Raman is always coming, all debates are interrupting.
You are bound to follow the judgment of the court, honorable court.
I never interrupted. It's a habit for Kalyan
Don't
Raman
say
to
that
come
you
and
cannot.
interrupt all the
What you are talking is unconstitutional and illegal. Don't you know that? It's a simple fact.
We have gone for an impeachment
You should know
motion.
that you are defying
Sir, once
law.
again, can I just come in? Kalyanji, I'll come back to you. The question here is that, not liking an order, you had legal recourses and you took some of those legal recourses. You denied the litigant in this matter the right to get that lamp lit in the requisite period of days. The state should not be seen as interfering in a citizen's right if they have gone to court and won an order. On top of that, you didn't answer the question of the Supreme Court option not being exhausted. You can only move impeachment. You should only be moving impeachment once you've exhausted your legal recourse. The Supreme Court is the final authority in this matter.
No, can I answer? And I don't want any interruption, please, because then I have to lose my chain of thought and then we will have wasted a lot of time. in having a meaningful discourse.
Answer in the legitimate
Sir,
way.
one second.
intertwining.
Kalyanji, one second. I'll
See,
come back to you. I'll come back to you, sir. Yes, go ahead, Salim.
you are intertwining two issues. That is, you are saying the sole reason we have gone for impeachment proceeding against this justice has to do one and only with this case,
Okay.
which is not the case.
Okay.
There are number of past anecdotes, which I told you two anecdotes. Stage with people of the opposite ideology and making.
What does that
wrong
mean? This is
comments.
the democracy, Salim. You can't say we'll impeach you
No,
because
it
you've
is a
shared a
democracy, but not
stage
for a sitting
with
justice.
somebody of the
Cannot
opposite
be again. You are now
ideology.
interrupting me. It is a democracy, but for a judge has to be non-partisan. It's written in the constitution.
Yes.
The governor has to be
Does it
non-partisan.
prevent
It's
him
in the
to attend
constitution.
events?
It does not attend him to. It does not prevent him to attend events, but only to attend events and to mock the ideology of the opposite side, to sit in the bench and question the fitness of non-Brahmins to act as priests.
Okay.
These are the things which are not expected of a judge. And again, I'm saying I'm not against any caste in this, right? And more importantly, so you're intertwining both these issues. So this judge is, and again, more importantly, the chief minister has legitimacy of 8.4 crore people. Tamil Nadu has about 8.2 crore people have voted him to power. So he's
Okay.
also supposed to listen to them. It is not the people of Tamil Nadu who want this. People of Tamil Nadu, you do a survey.
No, there is one person in Tamil Nadu who wants this. The
Who's
legal,
that one person?
I'm
Is
sorry,
that
the
we affiliated to the
touchstone of
BJP party?
legal
He
jurisprudence
has political-
is that even if one person's right is being affected, it doesn't matter who voted for you or who is in
No,
power.
it doesn't work like that.
Of
Shivani,
course it
doesn't work
works
in
like
democracy, it's broader
that. This
public
is
good.
legal principle. My right
you are
cannot
now
be
interrupting
affected
me.
because you believe that those who voted for you don't agree with my right. That's not how rights function.
No, it's not. I'll tell you. Basic political science book, democracy is broader public good. Public good for the broader population. Right? Let's say one
So who is
individual
this harming?
benefiting one individual is going to hurt 90% of 99%.
Who
of
is
the
this
individuals.
harming
What
exactly?
Will politician do?
No,
You
this
do a survey in
political
Tamil Nadu,
argument
census-
in itself,
census survey in
Salim,
Tamil Nadu,
this political
90%,
argument in
99%
itself,
of Hindus in Tamil Nadu do not want this.
that
I'm
doesn't
telling you,
matter.
like that,
One person
99%
wants
of the
this.
Hindus.
It is
Who's
not a
BJP
poll or a
Hindus?
census of how many
Now
Hindus
you are
want it.
behaving like BJP spokesperson here. Let me speak.
No,
Your
I'll
viewers
let
can
you
decide.
speak, but,
Let me speak. Your viewers can decide. No.
No,
Why
one
are
second,
you
one
putting
second.
our
I
opinion here?
am only saying legal principle is if a litigant has gone to court, they have won an order. You can't sit on judgment of that saying politically this is not what the people of Tamil Nadu want.
See, this is what people of Tamil Nadu want. This is my opinion. If you think it's otherwise, then you go do a survey and find out our next election only 4 months.
It's irrelevant here.
It is not relevant at all. Because who are the BJP represent the Hindus? My question. What does BJP or RSS have to do with Hindus? Have the Hindus given their rights to them? This is my question. The case in itself was filed by someone associated with the BJP party.
How does that matter? You can't decide legal jurisprudence on the basis of whether the person belonged to BJP.
So what is your point here?
My point here is there is a citizen in the state of Tamil Nadu who won a right. The state in itself must ponder whether it needed to challenge that citizen's right to begin with. Also, the point, sir, one second. Now you had your say, one second. The point is you said this will harm others. You said greater good, right? The term used by you.
This will result in religious disharmony. That's the whole point. That is why for the last 200 years, the same practice has been followed.
Okay.
200 years.
So Suman, okay, all right. I got your
You
point.
given
Suman C. Raman, he's saying this will lead, and this has been the government's argument as well, law and order, or in other words, this will lead to religious disharmony, which is why the state cannot stand for this order.
Shivani, this is the most bizarre case that I have ever seen, where the Muslim community is not objecting. The dargah management is not objecting. But the government wants to go and say that there will be disharmony, there will be disharmony, there will be problems. I mean, it is the most bizarre case. Second, as far as impeachment, I just want to know, has the Supreme Court or any higher court held Justice Swaminathan's order as unconstitutional or invalid? No, the matter is still being heard. Why would you rush with an impeachment motion when you don't even know in your, okay, right now you don't like the order and therefore you want to move an impeachment motion? You will not obey the court. That is the bottom line. So I just want to know whether this extends to individuals also. Can individuals also say that I don't like a court order, I will go on appeal, and until the appeal is decided, I will not implement the court order? Is that going to be the practice to be followed by everybody? How can the justice system function? You don't like an order. You have gone on appeal. If you get a stay, obviously the order will not be implemented. You have not got a stay. And you say, look, I can't implement the court order. I don't like it. End of story. In my opinion, it is unconstitutional. Therefore, I will not implement it. Does the same right come to a citizen also is my question. Tomorrow, if a court passes an order I don't like, okay, can I say I will not abide by the court order?
Yeah.
I will go on appeal, and my appeal may be decided after 3 years or 5 years or whenever. But until my appeal is decided, I will not listen to the court. How can the judicial system function like this?
Here the political argument is we don't like what the judge says, otherwise his comments outside of his judgments. We don't like the fact who's behind these litigants or this petition to begin with.
No, one minute, Shivani.
And the fact that this is against greater good. Now, India's democracy functions on the balance between the executive, the legislature and the judiciary.
Look, Shivani, I have no problem if tomorrow the Supreme Court stays this order and says this order is against the greater good. We support the stand of the Tamil Nadu government and there is no need to raise that. That has not happened. And you're actually going with an impeachment motion when the matter is coming up in court this week. So clearly, there is some ulterior motive in going for this motion without waiting for the Supreme Court judgment.
Okay. On the issue of the judge.
And one more thing.
Sir, I'll come back to you. One second. Ashwini ji hasn't spoken. On the issue of the court's authority. Now, this is challenging a court's authority, right? Because the argument by the government cannot be that we are in charge of law and order and we have the will of the people, quote unquote. Therefore, we will decide which order can be implemented or not implemented. Legally, you can make an argument in front of court. But if you suggest that because of the separation of executive and judiciary, the judiciary shall play no role in what we have decided is our job, then our democracy will not function. The courts have a mandate here. They're under constitution. If anything, it can be charged that this sort of explanation is both politicization of judiciary and unconstitutional.
When there is a remedy of appeal, and a state has a very right and have a very leading advocates represents the state of Tamil Nadu in Supreme Court, they can file an appeal. Writ appeal is also their single bench order. And judicial scrutiny is the fulcrum of constitution. Instead of going and adopting the process which is given, the right to appeal against an order, against that the state is an impeachment proceedings, because even impeachment proceedings are just politically motivated for two reasons. There has to be judicial scrutiny because the rigorous process combines both. Judicial scrutiny means the last court must have passed the order, and parliamentary oversight. Here if you see, the Supreme Court is still not passed the order. Even the Supreme Court review, curative, they are the readies. And instead of adopting that process, only being politically motivated and on arbitrary action with the Constitution and the appellate jurisdiction does not allow. Moving to the impeachment is unconstitutional because impeachment is a constitutional mechanism to remove the judges, and that too on proven misbehavior or incapacity. Here, neither the incapacity of a judge has been tested as per the legal test defined, or not the misbehavior. So the moving impeachment is absolutely an arbitrary, politically motivated, unconstitutional decision.
Okay.
Number two, the Supreme Court also says number of cases, the proved misbehavior has to be there. Where is the proved misbehavior? So I think that this is a significant limitation which has to be in this case. And in this case, the state has not chosen that because both judicial scrutiny and parliamentary oversight is required. And as rightly said by my great friend, co-panelist who just immediately said, if you don't like a judgment, go to the appeal. If you don't like an order, and because here the constitutional right of each and every citizen, including one single citizen, is important.
Exactly. So that is the beauty of our legal system, the legal principle and our democracy, that even one person's right has to be implemented by the state. The state cannot say, no, your right is less important than, what we have decided the state wants right now. Yes, Salim.
So my question is, can you have a judge who is partial, who has a view and he thinks his view is right? That's the question number one. And second, you have checks and balances, as my previous spokesperson said. The checks and balance is there for the judiciary to keep a check on the legislation and the executive, and for the legislature to keep a check also on the judiciary. It works both ways. It doesn't work one way. It is not that the judiciary has absolute power and the legislature does not have. It works both ways. And again, there's a clear demarcation between judicial activism and judicial impartiality. Here, it's not judicial activism. If it was, then going for impeachment is wrong. But judicial partiality was being continuously observed. Can a justice be judicially partial? Partial based on caste, creed, religion, color? That is the question. And openly, if there is a suspicion, impeachment is wrong. Even BJP has gone for judicial impeachments before. The Congress have gone.
No, nobody's questioning your right to go for the impeachment. The issue here is that this matter, which was a simple matter of lighting that ancient lamp for one day of the year, the petitioner and the litigant did what was his or her duty, went to the court, won an order. It is being largely seen as a destruction of democracy in India if you don't allow individual litigants to have the right to get orders in their favor. If the state, your state or any other state, starts standing up and say, no, we believe this is not in larger good, so we will not implement it. First of all, there is nothing to suggest that. You haven't proven that theory at all. But I'll give final comments to Kalyanji and Suman Sriraman. Yes, 30 seconds, sir.
See, they have lost their mind. They need legal education. They don't know anything about what they are doing. Ashwini ji has pointedly, clearly made it clear that they don't know what they are doing. Having lost their mind, having a huge problem in law and order mechanism, they are going against the constitutional mechanism, the judiciary, time and again. Even in the case of where the CBI inquiry has been ordered, in 2 of the cases, they have still not handed over the files. This is the way the Tamil Nadu government is behaving in the case of Armstrong murder case also. So, they want to defy judiciary. They want to go for a kind of law and order failure deliberately to ensure that the minorities are appeased in Tamil Nadu so that they get the votes in the 2026 elections. Beyond that, there is nothing. It's purely optics.
Sumant, even this larger issue, several governments have used this in the past. It has happened, especially when it comes to religious issues, that, governments want to not do what can easily be done or what is a citizen's right, because they fear law and order issue. But judges and courts increasingly are of the mind that, law and order cannot be used as an excuse to not implement either an order or to give a citizen its right.
Look, Shivani, I will not entirely disagree with that, because you see, the judgment which, created those huge crisis, law and order situation in Manipur, it happened after a court order. So I would not, on the face of it, immediately say that a law and order problem is not possible. But in this case, the biggest irony is the so-called aggrieved party is not saying that they have a problem. That is the bizarre nature of this case. Had the Muslim community come out and said, look, we have a problem, because first of all, this is not on land of the dargah. This is not infringing any of their rights, not even the right of access, nothing. So this is on land which is identified as per earlier judgments as temple land.
So what is the problem?
Issue,
exactly.
No,
in fact, he has upheld the rights of the dargah people.
No. In fact, the judgment.
In the very judgment, he has upheld that the rights of dargah as well.
That nothing shall be done on dargah property, nothing shall be done.
No, my issue is that even if there were two parties that were fighting with each other, even then the state should not interfere and support one or the other. Let the legal matter proceed. That is the issue here. Even if two religious sides were litigants against each other, that is the issue. But we'll leave it at that. We'll take this forward in days to come. A big thanks to our guests for joining us. Time for the right stand with Anand Narasimhan on the other side of the show.